to be looking more at develop. You don't really care much about design in progress, and you don't care much about design to do. You're probably quite interested in backlog and scope. And so here we've got a different view. Here we're looking at backlog, scoping, the design done, which is your input queue, the one that you're going to pick up, and you're going to move tasks into your develop to do queue. So perhaps there are some kind of review activities here. Maybe there's a checklist you complete. Whatever we need to do. And as you develop the code for this, so here we've got a deliverable. So I'm going to pick it up, maybe in a Scrum meeting, whatever you want to do, whatever model we're doing. Or perhaps a project manager pushes it to you. You're going to do some work on it. You would review it. You would fill in your estimates. And you'd attach notes. Perhaps you could attach supporting documents. For larger pieces of work, you can also go ahead and create subtasks that are dependencies on this larger task, and you can track those and manage those separately, and we'll get to what that view looks like as well. Let's go look at our demo plan. Tagging. We don't have it installed and configured on the instance that I'm using, but I mean in the production world, but I do have it on this instance. So what goes on here is whenever you want to do a search, sort, or filter, or any of those kinds of activities, the underlying data is going to change. So every time you run the search, you could get different results. What tagging does for you is it lets you mark the result set in a definitive way with a tag, a custom tag, however you want to label it, you know, a group of words that are all related to you and meaningful to you and have the context for you. It will let you tag them, tag that particular result set, and you can apply as many tags as you want. And then whenever you want to bring up that result set back again, all you have to do is search for tag. So that would prevent situations where you sliced and diced and grouped your data, and maybe some of the fields that were key for the search have changed, so therefore the data wouldn't have shown up. Very useful, very nice. Hierarchy views. Let's go have a look at that. So here it looks something like this. We have a task here that a developer is working on, and they want to see some relationships between different tasks, or they want to set and define relationships. So here, here's one example. I've already actually created one. You can actually see these two tasks are actually related to each other, and you can go ahead and define as many different tasks as you want, and you can set your route. So let's go ahead and link something else into this hierarchical relationship. Let's just go ahead and see what that process looks like and what the results from that are. I'm just picking one at random, it doesn't matter, just for purposes as a demo. So for developers and testers, this could be very useful in order to show a sequence through a set of steps. So let me go ahead and do another one, and we'll see what this is going to look like. It's kind of interesting. I'm just choosing ones at random. There's no rhyme or reason. So you can set your route for the hierarchy. So what it's telling people to do is start here, do this, then do this. And you can have groups of tasks that, for instance, in the test world, first you want to do some data prep and set up type of test cases in order to build test data. Next you want to go ahead and manipulate the system in order to complete your tests. And perhaps towards the end you want to run reports. Well, you don't want to run the reports first because there's no real data in the system. Perhaps it's stale or old, so there's often a sequence that you want to follow, and this is how you could go ahead and structure that. One thing to note is that once you have a hierarchy set and defined, you can actually take workflow actions on that whole hierarchy as a group. So whatever is valid for that hierarchy, it will let you take that as if it was the output of a search or filter, and then go ahead and process it. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and look at some of the other features on our demo plan. Issue views we probably already covered, but I'll go ahead and show that again. So we have 3 different views that we can apply across the system here. You've got a summary view, which is kind of a small thumbnail, a card view, which is going to be much more information, but perhaps overwhelming at certain points. And when you have a lot, you also do a list view. And just because you have one view applied, it doesn't mean that you can't double-click on anything you're interested in, and it will open and persist that view. So, for instance, if you drag and drop, it's going to persist that particular view on that particular object each time. Very nice. Let's see, work remaining by phase. Here you can see it's keeping track of, as you go ahead and do your estimations, it's going to keep track of the volume of work remaining for you. So here we can see that there's 2 issues and there's 3 days worth of work here. So let's go ahead and confirm, yep, there's 2 issues. And if we go ahead and open them up, one of them will have 3 days worth of work. There it is, so there's 3 days worth of work assigned to this particular one. So again, all of the method around how you assign, whether using some kind of point scoring system, complexity score, or you're just going to allocate and estimate hours, all of that's entirely up to the group. It's optional. I'm not going to enforce it. If you want to use it, great. If not, well, you can still do burn down by gross deliverable velocity coming out of each particular phase. So if you had 18 things to do in a release or version, and you had 10 days to do it in, you could still see a burn down line, but you're not going to get as meaningful data. Let's go ahead and look and see what else. Color coding of issues. So here I've chosen a color scheme that makes sense to me. The basic essence of it is deliverables are green because that's adding to the project velocity. That's things that people are working on. It's a use case, it's a test case. It's actually writing something, it's writing code, those class of things. Tasks support deliverables, and they can be kind of these background infrastructure things like create a build or things like that, or they can be more directly supporting, such as execute a test case. We had a deliverable to write the test case, now we're going to execute it. So it's a way to track and separate out an actual document being created versus the work in order to satisfy or complete that document or support the system. Defects, my terminology of a defect is anything that's wrong in a system. So if someone wrote a use case and they had an omission or error, or they missed something completely, in my world it's still a defect. It gets tracked as a defect. It's negatively affecting your forward velocity of the project, therefore it should be tracked separately, and that's why they're pink. Subtasks. Subtasks, we can go into this a bit more. There's another view I'll show you. Subtasks are dependent on tasks. You can have only one level deep. You can have a task with as many subtasks as you want, but you cannot have sub-subtasks. You can't just keep chaining them indefinitely. And that's actually a feature, and I quite like that. You don't go crazy with these nested structures. Excuse me. So let's go see on the demo plan. What do we have left? The other area is color coding of issues. Yeah, we just talked about that. Next one. Let's get into task, subtask. So I'm going to leave the legend up to help clarify. Subtasks are these kind of gray color, and as I said, they're associated with a task, and a task is good. I mean, it's good to have tasks, and it's good to have deliverables. It's bad to have defects. So let's go ahead and see what that's going to look like. So where's my view? Right now we're in what they call a compact view, which means there's no segregation between tasks and subtasks. I'm going to switch to an outline view. And here is where we can actually start to see the difference between, here's a task, and it has one subtask associated.